So before we get started, let's talk about this right here. So if you notice I have a band-aid on my ears because I finally got my earlobe repaired. So my earlobe has been about to split for probably a couple years due to wearing heavy earrings in my 20s. I've had these piercings right here, my front piercing, since maybe 6 months old. When I was a baby, my pediatrician did them when I got my first set of vaccines. So it might have been 6 months, it might have been 3, whatever you did back in the 80s. I can't remember. Don't judge me because I'm a pharmacist, but I'm on this schedule, not the 80s schedule. Okay, so I have to wear the band-aid for the next couple of weeks, so about a week more now at this point. There are stitches in my earlobe, and I'm gonna get my stitches taken out next week. And then I can wait between about 4 months before I get my ear re-pierced, and the doctor will do my re-piercing. I went to a maxillofacial surgeon, and the process was like 45 minutes, and it was just local anesthesia. And I got up and went around errands. I felt fine literally after getting it done. And then it's really best to wait like 6 months before I get my ear re-pierced. So I'll probably wait till August. So I'm not going to be wearing earrings, but it's for the greater good because I love earrings. So you guys know I always get so many wonderful compliments on my earrings, my jewelry. I do have like an ear cuff I could wear on this side, but I'm just not going to since my hair, my locks are pulled back today. So that's my news on my ear. I just wanted to address that real quick. Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. So if you are new, welcome, and if you're oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in pharmacy and I love makeup, and that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. So today I was like, whoo, we gotta knock this out the park. We gotta get this done. I am rating my next set of palettes that I've tried. Usually I do like 10 at a time. Well, I guess how they come in. I wanted to get better about rating, coming back, giving final updates on some of the palettes I try, because even though I usually do 1 palette, 3 looks, a lot of them are still kind of first impressions. So I want to make sure I'm providing like more details about these eyeshadow palettes and letting you know, do I really think you should pick it up, or are you kind of like, let it be. So I have 7 palettes to talk about today, and I didn't want to wait for any more to come in because I was like, oh, these might not even be relevant at the moment or later on, so let's just get them out the way. So we're going to start with the number 7 palette. You might be a little shocked. I'm a little shocked, but I'm not shocked. But coming in at number 7 is Pat McGrath Eternal Eden. I know. So it's beautiful. This is the new quad that came from the Divine Rose 2 collection. This is the Eternal Eden quad, and it's you know, it's beautiful. It's in her nice luxury packaging. Now she did change the packaging up where you don't have the legal drawstring envelope type of packaging. You do have just a little box. The quad retails for $58, which is pretty standard. That's how much the quads cost for the holiday quads, that because these don't have any special shades in them, and usually once they have special shades in them, they do retail for, I want to say, $65, but it is that Blitz formula or the 005 formula. But this is what the quad looks like on the inside. The color scheme is beautiful. I felt like the looks I was getting were beautiful. Now if it looks used, I have been using it. So what I've actually been enjoying using this quad is like these 2 shades right here as blushers, because I think everybody is just dying for Pat McGrath blushes. So I really enjoy Earthly Delight, and then this is Pink Mystique. I want to say, yeah, Pink Mystique. Oh, there we focus. There we go. Pink Mystique. I really enjoy putting these on my cheeks. They look beautiful as blushes. They're subtle. This kind of bright, gives a little mauve-y moment, and then just adding Pink Mystique can just brighten up any look. And I really do enjoy these. These two shadows are beautiful. Now the quality is impeccable when we talk about Pat McGrath. The reason why I just rated it lower is because it was pretty on my eyes, but it doesn't have a lot of depth. So overall, I enjoy the quad. I really enjoy the performance of the quad. I actually really enjoy these two matte shades. I mean, obviously, because I've been using them on my cheeks, but I also enjoy how they blend out in the crease. I have worn this a couple times, like when I've worn some Cleona shadows to work, I've just popped this in the crease. These two matte formulas is more like a creamy matte formula, so they blend so well. I mean, if you've had trouble blending some of her mattes because they're so pigmented, this formula, it blends out a little bit easier, but it still packs that same punch. But overall, the color story is just, it's falling flat for me. It's not enough depth. These are for the girls who just like really simple, everyday, pretty looks. Like, you know, not a lot of drama. And I mean, look at me. I prefer the drama. So I feel like if this shade had been a little bit deeper and I can just bring in a little bit more depth into the look, I really, really enjoyed this. This particular shade, Forbidden Fruit, it's beautiful, but it doesn't really pack enough sparkle. And then, of course, you have Temptation, which is a beautiful kind of dual chrome shade. So overall, it's a great performing quad, but based off of like the last palettes and what I'm rating these up against, it's coming in and last. I'm sorry. Next up, we have BH Cosmetics Orange Sorbet. So this, I mean, I have 4 of these palettes in my possession, and we're going to talk about them in this video. But this is the Orange Sorbet palette. It is actually really gorgeous. This is a palette that I actually doubled back and went and got because I did not pick up, when the restock happened, I didn't pick up Orange Sorbet and Cherry on top. So I decided, I was like, you know, I was looking at the color scheme. I was like, do I want them? Do I want them? Yes, I really do. And I'm so glad I picked them up. The shimmers in this palette are gorgeous. So that is my favorite thing about the palette. I actually do really enjoy these particular 3 mattes right here. This brown shade, Chocolate Drizzle, it falls a little flat for me in terms of giving definition, but you can get some overall very pretty looks. With this one, sometimes depending on how you lay the shadows, you can get very similar looks, so you do have to be careful on how you put your colors together. But the 2 shadows that I just love so much are the shades Yum and Citrus. I mean, they're just gorgeous orange shades. The palettes retail regularly for $18. I will have to put on the screen if they are still available, but I think BH should just bring this collection back. Right now, it's no news if they're going to bring it back, but it's not like it's totally disappeared. Like, it's just not even an option. I think this was just like a big hit for them, and they just need to keep it around, because if people want to get their hands on it, you need to keep, you know, you need to like make it available, basically, you know what I mean? They keep all their other palettes around forever, like, you know. So, but this palette is just gorgeous, but just for me, some of the dimension is lacking in here, is why it came in at number 6. So coming in at number 5, we have the Melt Blueprint palette, and this palette is actually really, really gorgeous. Once again, Melt killed it with the packaging. I felt like I could get some very great looks out of here. I have worn this a couple times. I love how you can get the neutral looks, and then you can get the bright pop of blues. I don't recommend this palette if you are not into blue, because clearly half of the palette is blue. But all the shades perform really, really well. I have worn this palette a couple times. The last time I wore it, I would say that I was not in love with my look, and that had nothing to do with the palette. That just had everything to do with me. You know, sometimes like things just don't go your way. You know, when you do your eyeshadows, you're like, that was just not my best work, and it was one of those situations. But one of my favorite colors in here is the shade Skylight, and I also really like the shade Nailed. In the look that I did in a video where I had this particular shade just blended all out, and then this shade coupled with it in the inner corner, and then I did a graphic liner situation with King Stud. But all of these, you get really great looks. But I do feel like it does lack a little variety on the blue side, because even though King Stud is a little bit more royal and then you have Deadbolt, I feel like it could just be a little bit more contrast between those particular shades. But overall, I really do enjoy the palette. This is a great quality palette in terms of Melt Cosmetics, because you know sometimes Melt, they can be very hit or miss with their quality, but this one is excellent quality. I will put it up there with like She's in Parties and the Beetlejuice palettes. They really knocked it out the park when they did this. The packaging is so cute, but when you just ranking it up against the other things I've tried, It's just kind of falling somewhere in the middle-ish. Okay, so like these next 4 options right here is where it just gets really tough out of the 7 palettes that I tried, because honestly, I just didn't know. I kept just shuffling through, like, did I want to put them here, here, here? What do I want to do with them? But I mean, ultimately you have to make a decision. So this is the Sweet Shop in Bubblegum, and this is one of the palettes that I'm wearing today on my eyes. I did a combination between this one and the Pistachio palette. And so I am actually wearing the shade Sweet Tooth on that's that deeper shimmer right here, and then wearing the shade Frozen like on the bottom in the very, very inner corner. This palette is so gorgeous. You get so many great blue looks. You get a lot of dimension. Unlike the Orange Sorbet palette, you have 2 very deep blue mattes that work very, very well. You don't even have any problem blending them. I feel like if you just want a little bit more fine-tuned blending, you just go in with a more densely packed brush. You also go in with a smaller blending brush to kind of just get those separation of colors. You have the Sweet Tooth shade, which gives a nice blue-green effect, which I love. The same with Frozen. I mean, and also the shade Pop. These 3 shimmers right here. I'm like, it's the palette in focus. These 3 shimmers are just so delicious. I like this shimmer also, but really it's these 3 up that are really doing it for me. The blue is nice, the chili blue. Like, you just have so many great mattes to couple along with this. I really feel like you can get some different looks with it, and some is unexpected where it's just not kind of falling all in the same monochromatic look. But even with when I did a monochromatic look with it, I felt like you could still see the definitions of colors, and everything wasn't just fading together as one. So I really did appreciate that. So I really feel like this palette is beautiful, and this is one of the ones I picked up originally when they restocked the collection. Oh, coming in at number 3, like, this palette was just such a pleasure to work with. Like, oh my god, it was a shocker. Like, I almost slept on this one. I did not pick it up originally, like I mentioned before, but oh my goodness, it's one of my favorites. It was so hard to battle it out to put this in number 3, but I just love it so. And this is the Sweet Shop Cherry on top. I mean, it is fiery, it is beautiful. You get pinks, you get oranges, you get deep reds, you get a lot of variation. I love each and every one of the shimmer shades at the top. I feel like with Maraschino, there it is. With Maraschino, you get some great pop, like neon-esque looks, and then you can kind of round it off with some of the pink shimmers. All of the mattes are gorgeous, even though these 2 look kind of close together. Like, you still getting are different looks. You're seeing the separation of colors. You have the depth and dimension within the matte and within the shimmer. And this shimmer, Black Cherry, is so smooth. It's so creamy. I mean, it is gorgeous. Like, it is just so good. This one kind of reminds me of like a Colored Rain shimmer. And Colored Rain is some of my favorite shimmer formulas. The shade Juicy is my favorite. Like, oh my gosh, it's orange. It has that like pop of coral. It has that pop of cherry. So you're getting like all the feels on it. It looks great on my particular skin complexion and deeper. Like, you're just going to really see that pop. I also feel like this is a great palette if you're a deeper complexion, because you're just going to see the depth, the dimension. You're going to have the pop. You're going to have the sparkle with these shades. So this one I absolutely love. It was such a complete surprise. I feel like Cherry on Top isn't talked about as much, and I just think it's gorgeous. Like, I really do love it. Next up, coming in at number 2, we have the Nomad Cosmetics Land of Fire and Ice. Oh my gosh, this is the palette where they took us to Iceland. And first of all, let's talk about the packaging. It is gorgeous. Can you see the texture ripples to emulate the waves on the back of the palette? You have the smooth cardboard packaging on the back. You also have like where the palette is made from. And inside it's just continued on. You know, in Iceland they have a lot of volcanoes, so you just get that feel when you open up the palette. So it's just like you got the ice, you have the fire. Like, I feel like all the details were just done so wonderfully. And then you have like the little gnome popping out on top of the shadow right here. That is also beautiful. The imprints in this shadows were so gorgeous. Like I didn't even want to mess them up. But you also have some amazing tones of blues and greens, and you have some great shifter shades right here that emulate the what is it? The you have the gray shades that emulate the northern lights. Duh. Okay, so the northern lights, and then in the middle you have your fiery tones. So like everything goes together so well. One of my favorite shades in the palette is the shade Odin. It's such a unique grungy gray matte. Gray green matte, that's what I'm trying to say. And even with this one, the shade Frig is beautiful. You also have this beautiful Elves right here. The only shade that was kind of giving me a little was Dark Castles, but it does work okay. You just have to maybe just pat it on, not manipulate it too much. But everything in this palette was gorgeous. Of course, Heal was gorgeous. You know, I love those red cranberry shades. Overall, I felt like the palette was so beautiful. It was really unique to my collection. I don't have anything like this, even though I love greens and blues so much. It was just a different take on it, and I really, really like it. I really appreciate it. I just thought this was beautiful, executed very beautifully. And I want to say that the palette was also about $45, so I didn't feel like the palette was expensive, and it's great quality. Alright, so the palette coming in at number 1 is the BH Cosmetics Pistachio palette. So I'm a little biased because I love green eyeshadow, so you might feel a different way if you love, you know, the pink color story or maybe the cotton candy that I don't have or any one of those, but it's personal preference. And I just feel like this particular palette is so beautiful, okay? And this one is the Sweet Life shadow. Oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. It is so opulent. It's sparkly. I have it right here. It's a little bit of a duochrome type of feel. It is gorgeous. It just takes any look to the next level, literally. And this shade also Crunch. It is gorgeous. It's so smooth. It's high performing. It's also, none of these shadows I had to wet. Well, I'm talking about the shimmers. I had to wet to make them perform, and that goes with all the other Sweet Shop palettes. Now with this one, the soft serve shade, it felt a little flat for me, but I can kind of excuse it. But overall, the color scheme is just gorgeous. I'm just living for it. And these two, the Guilty Pleasure and Nutty, I feel like we could have had a little different variation, and the mattes maybe more of a Kelly green color, but I do really appreciate the shade Cone or Cup because you could just really deepen up some looks. But the shade Nutty I do have right here as my transition shade. And overall, I just feel like this is just so gorgeous, so beautiful. So I have just been loving the palettes that I've tried out. Even though I don't really care for this one by Mama Pat, like I said, I've been making use of it, so I don't even feel like I'm wasting my money because, like I said, I've been enjoying this so much as a cheek product. So let me know down below if you have any of these palettes. Have you been enjoying any of them at all? Let me know down in the comments because, you know, I would love to know. Give this video a big thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come up with another video, which will be very, very soon. And please subscribe to my channel because, you know, I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Chair dance. Hey, 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 chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. All right, guys. Bye.